And welcome back to another episode of Casey Campbell's Videocast. I'm, of course, Casey Campbell from Great Lakes Post. This is a new way of doing things. Let's do it. Now joined by the Hartland AD JD Wheeler. First off, JD, how are things going over in your neck of the woods over in Hartland?
They're going fine. You know, my family's happy and healthy, and we're just kind of adjusting to this new normal for the time being. But you know, things are great in Hartland.
Talking about the impact of, the canceled winter sports. Some of your sports were affected by that with girls basketball and with hockey, and swim and dive as well. And all the spring sports, of course. What has been in the impact? I know you've talked to your coaches. I know you've talked to the kids as well. How is everybody feeling about this, and how's everyone doing?
Well, yeah, just to rewind a little bit, to go back to those winter sports that were affected. We actually had 4 sports that were still going. Girls basketball, hockey. Our girls gymnastics team had just won regionals and were preparing to go to states. And then we had 2 boys qualify for the state swim meet. So those were the 4 teams that were affected. Obviously, at that time, and still, it was pretty devastating, because that's what they put their blood, sweat, and tears and their focus in the entire regular season is to hopefully make long postseason runs, and we were doing that. So it was devastating. But to put it into perspective, I've talked to a lot of those kids and interacted with their coaches and the student athletes, and while they are really hurt and frustrated about it, I'm super impressed with just how mature they were talking to them, and they understand that this is something that is bigger than them. It's bigger than their team. It's bigger than Hartland High School. It's something that we've all got to pitch in and do well together, and they understand that. So I don't want to downplay it. It was really hard for a lot of our student athletes, but at the end of the day, they get it, and we're all sacrificing for the greater good. So that's where we're at. As far as the athletic department now, really what we're doing is I've talked with my spring coaches, and we are still under the feeling that we're in season. While it's a very, very different season, we're not able to have practice. We're not able to play games or compete or do things like that. We're still trying our very best to meet our students' needs, to meet our student athletes' needs. That takes a lot of different shapes and forms in times like this, but they've been really creative about setting up, Google Classrooms or different ways to interact with their student athletes so they can still get something from our athletic department, still feel like they're part of a team, still interacting with a good coach who is somebody that they can that can mentor them and help them through these times. So we're still running. It's just a very different look.
Well, now all the focus kind of goes into next year, and who knows where it's going to be when that comes around. Have you been talking? Has anyone really been talking with the MHSA, or has the league talked about, whether fans are allowed or whether or not we have even school or anything like that?
Yeah, to be honest, we're not there yet, Casey. We always have conversations about it, and maybe some hypothetical scenarios. What if this happens, or what if this happens, or what if we have games with no fans, or all those different scenarios. We talk about it, but nothing is official. We're waiting for some different decisions to get made. There are some big things that have to be decided. Just, society as a whole, when are, small business is going to be able to open back up? When are we going to be able to, tone down the social distancing, some of that type of stuff? Those decisions have to be made first, and then obviously, as far as school districts are concerned, they're going to have to figure out what's going to happen with school. We want our kids, they're student athletes, right? And the word student comes first. So we want our kids in a desk in front of a teacher, in science class, in math class, doing all that type of stuff. So I think that domino needs to fall first, and then I'm sure the MHSAA is going to work really hard to make the best decision that they possibly can. And if schools are able to open back up, then we'll start talking about, high school athletics and getting back to all that side of things and the stuff that we love. But, I think that there's some small things that need to be decided first, and then it'll eventually, the high school sports decision will be had when it's appropriate.
Going back to winter sports, I think that the storyline was you won the last two hockey state championships, and then girls basketball. If who knows what they could have done, because a lot of them tell me all the time that this could have been the year that they got it done.
Sure. That was their goal from the start. And with the hockey team not being able to defend is kind of a different kind of frustrating. You know what I mean? Because we've won it 2 years in a row, and our name's on that trophy, and we wanted to put it on there again. And I know that that's what those boys were gunning for. So to not be able to defend a title is got kind of a weird feel to it. And then the girls basketball team, they were they were playing some good ball. We had some really good battles with Brighton in the regular season. I think that helped both us and Brighton for the postseason. We were battle tested, and yeah, that group too was a special group, and it's hard to wrap your brain around what could have been, but I don't think it was bad for either of those teams to dream about greatness, because it really was. It was there on the doorstep. It's just we weren't able to continue our run.
What as an athletic department are you guys doing right now? I know facilities are closed to the public because it's stay-at-home order. But is there still activity with cleaning the schools and all that? Because I know there is some stuff still going on, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got to keep a building running, right? You can't just lock the doors and never be in there. So there has been, our custodial team has made sure that place is spotless and as clean as it has ever been. They've got a scaled down crew, but they are doing that. And then our great maintenance workers are making sure that the day-to-day for the building is still running and it's up to tip-top shape and stuff like that. But really, other than that, I've been to the building a couple times. But other than that, it's weird. When you walk into a place that's usually buzzing with 2,000 students and the teaching staff and the administration, everything. I mean, it's very, very rarely that school is ever empty. So when you go into it and there's not many people there, it's kind of a different feel. It's a little sad, to be honest.
Yeah. Facility-wise, are there talks of possibly a bond issue?
Well, our bond was scheduled to happen May 5th, the bond vote, but that's going to get pushed back. I believe it's going to be an August vote now. The school board is still going to have to, vote on a couple things as far as getting it pushed to August, but. No, all of that is still going to be on the table. It's just getting pushed to a different vote. So still very, very excited about the possibility of that bond passing. There are some cool athletic facility improvements as part of that bond. And I think that's something that our student athletes, now and in the future, when if it does pass, it would be great. It would be great for the future of Hartland athletics and all those kids who are our younger athletes now, our future. I'd like to call them our future kids will benefit if it passes. That's for sure.
And I don't know if you've been aware of the talks of what happens next. With prom and graduation. I think in Fowlerville the events besides graduation are canceled. I know graduation's on hold. What's the situation in Hartland? Are you in those talks? Since you're
a little bit. I like to be part of those meetings, and our principal, Kate Gregory, is doing a great job, man, through all of this, getting the online education rolling and trying to figure out different ways that we can continue to serve our students. They've had to kind of reinvent the wheel a little bit. I think somebody in our administration group described it as building an airplane while you're flying it, and they've done an amazing job doing that. They really have, and I think the word postponed or not necessarily postponed it's not canceled. It's just going to look different what we do with graduation. But there's some different ideas on the table, but they don't want to rule anything out right now because there's some decisions with some venues and some things like that are still up in the air. But whatever we come up with, it's going to be the very best thing that we're able to do to honor that graduating class of 2020. So many great students in that class. not just athletically, but academically and all the different clubs and things that those kids were involved in. Had amazing high school careers at Hartland, so we want to make sure that they're recognized.
And I know you're honoring all the seniors on Twitter with all that. And your secretary just announced that she's going to stay till the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, Anna's going to stay through December of next year. So that's pretty great. It's a decision that, through all this that she made. She said, you know what, JD, I can commit through that first semester next year, the winter sports season. So I think that's great. The more time that we get with Anna, the better. She's experienced. She's seen it all. She's done it all as far as an athletic office is concerned. So, any time we get to hold on to somebody like that, even if it's for just a little bit longer, is a good thing.
Have you met with any of the athletes? Have you met, I know some Zoom meetings are happening with entire teams.
Sure.
Have you had that opportunity?
I haven't. Well, when this first kind of started, I definitely had some phone calls. And they, to be honest, they were kind of some sad phone calls. I talked to some members of our girls basketball team right when some decisions were being made, and we just kind of discussed, just the decision in general and how to cope with it. And sometimes you just need to talk, and I needed it just as much as they did, to be quite honest, because it was a shock, and it's something that I really wanted for those kids. But those are the ones that I've talked to. Now, I have had several Zoom meetings with our coaching staff, and just talking about, things moving forward. And I know that they're having those discussions with their kids, and, like I said, still being those mentors, still being a great adult figure for those kids to talk to on a regular basis. That's part of their job. It's not just wins and losses or performance on the field. Sometimes it's, a coach's job more than any other is just being that positive adult role model or mentor for the kids. And I said that never stops. That never stops. We just got to figure out different ways to do it.
All right, JD, thank you so much for talking to us, giving us an update on what's going on in Hartland. And I'm sure by the time the summer rolls around, it's going to be a whole lot different. And we'll just have to see what happens in the fall, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, Casey, I think you, being the sports type person that you are, will probably, these words will mean a lot as well. But I know when we get back, right, and when things normalize, and when we're able to, football, basketball, baseball, track, hockey, soccer, all the different things that we do, right, and when we get back to that, I don't think that there's a person who is not going to appreciate it, and a person who is not going to understand that, we need to never take the little things for granted, right? And that's my message to the coaches and the kids. I always say, when we get this back and coach wants you to run another sprint, or it's time to have the last real tough part of practice, or a long bus ride home, or anything like that, those are the things, it's funny, but those are the things that the kids are missing right now. Yeah. And when it comes back, we're never going to take them for granted. And I know you, as somebody who covers sports, is probably struggling right now. And me, as someone who administrates sports, I'm struggling right now because I miss it. But when it comes back, man, it's going to feel good, and not going to ever take it for granted. That's for sure.
I'm not doing too bad, JD. It's this platform has given me, it's energized me, and I'm ready to go with this.
Good.
We got some more episodes that we just taped in the afternoon, and we'll bring them on. We'll see what happens next. But JD, once again, thank you for coming on, and we'll see what happens in the world of Hartland.
All right. Take care, Casey. We'll see you soon.